Have you ever seen a woman smile with her lips while her eyes quietly beg the world not to break her spirit? Have you ever witnessed strength dressed in silence, dignity clothed in loneliness? Tonight, I want to speak of her. The woman who carries her battles in the dark, the woman who fights with no one clapping for her, no one standing in her corner, no one to whisper, "You are not alone." Loneliness is a heavy thing, heavier than most people will ever admit. It does not knock on the door loudly. It creeps in quietly, uninvited, and before you know it, it has settled into the walls of your life. For a woman with no support, loneliness is not simply the absence of people. It is the absence of belonging, the absence of a hand to hold when the night grows too long, the absence of a voice to remind her she is seen, heard, and valued. Loneliness is a weight that sits on her chest when she lays down at night, making even sleep a fragile thing. She knows the sound of silence too well, the kind of silence that follows her through empty rooms, the silence that wraps around her when she comes home from work and no one greets her at the door, no one asks how her day was. This silence is not peaceful. It is a silence that reminds her of everything she must carry alone. It echoes with questions. Who will listen when she breaks? Who will stand beside her when the storm rises? Who will clap when she triumphs? And the answer, too often, is no one. Her loneliness is not chosen. It is not the kind of solitude one takes for reflection or peace. It is the kind of loneliness that presses against her bones, a forced exile from the comfort of companionship. There are women in this world who bear their battles in the shadows, not because they want to, but because life has left them no other choice. When others walk into celebration halls, she stands at the doorway watching. When others gather for comfort, she is the one cooking, serving, making sure everyone else is held. Yet when she needs holding, the room clears. And so she learns to laugh with her mouth while her soul aches for someone to notice the tremor in her heart. She becomes skilled at smiling, at nodding, at saying, "I'm fine," because to reveal her loneliness would mean opening wounds that no one is prepared to heal. Her loneliness becomes her secret, hidden in plain sight. People may think she is strong because she never complains, but strength in her case is not the absence of pain. It is the necessity to endure pain alone. There is a particular weight in carrying victories with no one to share them. Imagine working for years, pushing yourself through exhaustion, finally reaching a goal that once seemed impossible, yet when you get there, the room is empty, no applause, no embrace, no congratulatory word, just silence. She knows that silence. She has eaten dinner alone after promotions, blown out birthday candles with no one to cheer, wiped her own tears at milestones that should have been celebrated in community. For her, even success tastes of loneliness, for joy is halved when it is not shared. Yet it is not only the victories she carries alone, it is the burdens, the fears, the disappointments, the bills that sit unpaid on the kitchen table, the medical results she receives with trembling hands and no one to hold her, the bad news she swallows whole because there is no ear to hear it. She goes to sleep with worries that do not ease because she has no one to divide them with. Her loneliness is multiplied by responsibility, and the world, blind to her private storms, often tells her to stay strong, as though she has any other option. There is also a cruel truth in loneliness. It makes her question her worth. She asks herself why no one has stayed, why no one has shown up, why no one has chosen to hold her in her weakest moments. Loneliness whispers lies, that she is unworthy of love, unworthy of support, unworthy of being fought for. And because she hears these whispers so often in the silence of her nights, she sometimes begins to believe them. Yet even when she doubts herself, she keeps walking. Even when she feels invisible, she keeps showing up. Even when she feels forgotten, she keeps giving because her soul has been trained to survive. But do not think her loneliness has not taught her lessons. It has taught her to trust her own voice, to find comfort in her own presence, to stand up when no one is clapping. It has taught her to dance in the kitchen alone, to laugh at her own jokes, to be her own caretaker. She has learned to create light in her darkness, to build her own celebrations when the world forgets her. Loneliness, as heavy as it is, has become the fire that forges her resilience. Still, no woman was meant to walk life unsupported. Even the strongest among us need someone to say, "I see you, I hear you, you matter." And when she does not receive this, the loneliness does not just bruise her, it shapes her, changes her. It makes her cautious in love, guarded in friendship, hesitant to believe that anyone would truly stay. It places a wall around her heart, not out of bitterness, but out of survival. Because when you have held yourself up for so long, you stop expecting others to carry you. There is a danger in this weight of loneliness. It can harden her spirit, make her forget the softness she once carried. But there is also a beauty in it. It polishes her strength until it shines. It sharpens her will until it cuts through despair. It deepens her compassion for others who suffer silently. She becomes both fragile and fierce, wounded and wise, tired and triumphant. Her loneliness, though cruel, becomes the soil from which her deepest courage grows. So when you see her walking alone, do not mistake her silence for contentment. Do not assume her strength means she has never longed for a hand to hold. Know instead that she carries an invisible weight, heavier than iron, and yet she walks with dignity. She is a testament to the power of surviving when the world turns away. And while loneliness may be her companion, it has not destroyed her. It has revealed her endurance, her grace, her unbreakable spirit. There is a certain kind of smile that does not come from joy. It comes from survival. It is the smile a woman wears when the world expects her to be unshaken, even when she is trembling inside. This smile is bright enough to fool strangers, steady enough to comfort her children, convincing enough to silence the questions of those who might look too closely. But behind it, storms rage that no one else sees. A woman with no support learns to wear this smile like armor, because if she lets the mask slip, she risks being crushed beneath the weight of her truth. That smile is her shield. It hides the sleepless nights, the anxiety that presses against her chest, the memories of betrayal, the fear of tomorrow. It hides the quiet tears she wipes away before dawn so that no one will see her swollen eyes. The world tells her, be strong, be unbreakable, keep moving. And so she does. But she cannot let her pain spill into her face because pain makes people uncomfortable, and loneliness has already taught her that comfort is a luxury she cannot afford. So she smiles. She smiles when she is tired. She smiles when her bank account is empty. She smiles when her heart has been broken in ways words cannot describe. She smiles because she has children watching her, elders depending on her, people who believe she is unshakable. She smiles because she refuses to let anyone see her break, even though she is already broken inside. That smile is not a lie. It is a declaration. It says, I will not let the world know how deeply I hurt, because if I do, they may take the little strength I have left. But that smile also costs her. It costs her rest, because it is exhausting to perform strength when you feel weak. It costs her honesty, because she swallows her truth to keep others comfortable. It costs her connection, because people assume she does not need help, that she does not feel pain, that she does not long for someone to see behind the mask. She becomes invisible inside her own smile, hidden in plain sight. And those who pass her by say, she is strong, she is fine. They never imagine the storm that rages beneath. The storm inside her is not small. It is the kind of storm that shakes foundations, the doubt that creeps in when she is alone at night, the grief that catches her breath when she remembers the love she lost, the fear that her strength will not be enough for the battles ahead. She feels it rise like thunder in her chest, lightning in her thoughts, rain pouring in her spirit. But still she smiles, not because the storm is gone, but because she refuses to let it drown her. And sometimes, in the quiet of her solitude, that storm breaks free. The smile falls, the tears come, the sobs escape her body like earthquakes. She lets herself crumble where no one can see. She screams into pillows, clutches her chest, prays for relief. But when the morning comes, she gathers her pieces, wipes her face, and puts the smile back on. She walks into the world once again, composed, radiant, unstoppable, even though the storm still lingers beneath her skin. Her smile is not a mask of deceit. It is a strategy of survival. She knows the world does not always welcome vulnerability, especially not from women like her. Vulnerability makes people turn away, dismiss the weight of her struggle, minimize her pain. So she has taught herself to disguise it. That disguise is not cowardice, it is courage. It is choosing to show the world her best even when she feels her worst. It is choosing to give light even when her own room is dark. Yet there is also tragedy in this armor. Because she wears her smile so well, no one asks how she is doing. They assume she is unshaken, and so they never lean in to check on her heart. She has become a master of appearing whole, and so she suffers in silence. And when she needs help the most, the world does not come running because the world believes her smile. They believe her laughter, her composure, her unshakable stance. They never think to look deeper. But if you look closely, closer than most people dare, you will see it. You will see the flicker in her eyes, the shadow behind her laughter, the faint tremor in her voice. You will notice how quickly she changes the subject when asked about her own heart. You will notice how she always asks about others, but rarely speaks of herself. These are the cracks in her smile, the little windows into the storm she hides. But few people look that closely, and fewer still stay long enough to listen when she finally begins to speak. Her smile, though costly, is also a kind of triumph. For every time she puts it on, she declares that her storm will not define her. She may be weary, but she will not wear weariness on her face. She may be broken, but she will not let the world see her fragments. She may be afraid, but she will not walk as though fear owns her. She chooses dignity, grace, and strength in the face of chaos. That choice is power. That choice is resilience. That choice is why she survives. The truth is, she should not have to smile through storms. She should not have to bear the weight of sorrow in silence. She should not have to perform strength just to be accepted. But because the world often denies her safe places, she has made her own armor. And though her smile may hide her storm, it does not erase it. She carries both, the beauty of her resilience and the heaviness of her struggle. And in that duality lies the fullness of her humanity. So the next time you see a woman smiling, do not assume the absence of pain. Understand that sometimes a smile is not joy, it is survival. Sometimes a smile is not laughter, it is labor. Sometimes a smile is not peace, it is proof of a storm raging behind closed doors. And when you understand this, perhaps you will look a little deeper, listen a little closer, and love a little better. For behind every strong smile, there may be a woman who simply needs to be seen. There are weights in this life that were never designed to be carried by one pair of hands. Responsibilities that were meant to be shared, sorrows that were meant to be spoken, fears that were meant to be met with the comfort of another's presence. Yet for the woman with no support, those weights fall squarely on her shoulders. She becomes the holder of everything: provider, protector, nurturer, healer, dreamer, and worker all at once. And though her back bends beneath the strain, she cannot let go. For she knows that if she falters, everything she loves will tumble with her. She rises each morning with burdens already pressing against her chest, bills waiting in silence on the table, children needing breakfast, clothes, guidance, protection, work calling her with demands that care nothing for her exhaustion, dreams tucked deep in her heart that whisper for attention, though she rarely has the time or energy to answer. She is both the engine that moves the train and the tracks that hold it steady. And though she carries far more than she should, she does it because she must. Carrying burdens alone reshapes a woman. It forces her to stretch beyond her limits, to grow strength where none existed, to find energy in reserves she did not know she had. But it also leaves scars, invisible but deep. Every time she chooses to carry more than her share, something inside her gives a little less rest, a little less laughter, a little less softness, not because she wants to lose these things, but because she is forced to trade them for survival. There is something cruel about carrying burdens not meant to be carried alone. It robs her of freedom. It steals her ability to lean back and rest, knowing someone else will hold her. For her, there is no safety net, no second set of hands, no one to take the load when she grows weary. She carries it all, whether it is the financial weight of running a household, the emotional weight of comforting children while her own heart aches, or the mental weight of planning futures when her present feels uncertain. Sometimes the burden is not just physical, it is emotional, spiritual, and psychological. She carries the guilt of decisions she never should have had to make. She carries the worry of what tomorrow will bring. She carries the heartbreak of promises broken by others who were supposed to help but left her stranded. These burdens sit on her chest at night, making rest a stranger. They whisper doubts into her ears, making her question whether she is enough. And still, she gets up, puts on her clothes, and faces the day again, as though she has not been crushed 100 times in secret. Carrying these burdens alone also brings loneliness into sharper focus. Imagine wanting to share your struggles, but realizing there is no one who will hold them with care. Imagine wishing you could set your load down for just one night, but knowing no one will pick it up. Imagine longing for a shoulder to lean on, but finding only the hard edge of solitude. This is her reality. She does not carry because she enjoys it. She carries because there is no one else who will. And yet there is power in the way she shoulders these weights. For though the burden is unjust, though it is unfair, she carries with grace. She may stumble, but she does not let the load fall. She may cry, but she does not abandon the task. She may grow weary, but she does not quit. Her endurance is breathtaking, even when it is born from necessity. She is the pillar that keeps the roof from collapsing, the bridge that holds everyone else as they cross, the invisible force that keeps the world spinning when it might otherwise fall apart. Still, the world should not mistake her endurance for ease. Just because she carries it does not mean it is light. Just because she survives does not mean she is unscarred. Just because she appears unshaken does not mean she does not long for relief. Her strength is not proof that she does not need help. It is proof of what happens when help never comes. And the tragedy is that society too often applauds her for carrying burdens alone instead of asking why she must. What would it look like if she had support? If someone came alongside her and said, "Let me take this piece. You don't have to carry it all." If someone helped with the bills, or listened when her heart was heavy, or stood in the gap when her body was weary. Imagine the weight lifted. Imagine the freedom restored. Imagine the joy that could return to her spirit. But because she rarely receives this, she learns to imagine less and instead to endure more. There are moments, though, when even she cannot deny the heaviness, when her arms tremble from holding too much, when her spirit aches from being stretched too far, when her heart longs not for someone to rescue her, but simply to recognize her, to see the strength it takes to carry what was never meant to be hers alone, to honor the quiet courage it takes to walk forward with burdens that would crush another. And so she continues. She carries the groceries, the grief, the bills, the brokenness, the dreams, the disappointments, the fears, all of it, all at once. And though her back may bend, she keeps walking. Though her knees may shake, she keeps moving. Though her heart may ache, she keeps rising. For she knows that if she lays it down, everything depending on her may fall. And that is why, even though she should never have to, she carries what was never meant to be carried alone. There is a kind of courage that does not announce itself with trumpet sounds or flashing banners. It does not march into the world demanding recognition. It does not roar like thunder or blaze like fire. This courage is quiet. It moves in silence, breathes in stillness, and yet it carries a power greater than any storm. It is the courage of a woman who rises each day, not because she feels strong, but because life leaves her no other choice. It is the courage of a woman who wakes up despite the weight pressing against her chest, who stands when her body begs her to lie down, who walks forward even when her path is scattered with obstacles. Her courage begins in the morning, long before the world applauds her, long before anyone notices. It begins when the alarm rings and her weary bones ache for rest. Yet she swings her legs out of bed and places her feet on the floor. It begins when she ties her shoes, prepares breakfast, gathers her responsibilities, and steps into another day with shoulders squared. She does not feel invincible in these moments. She feels human, frail, tired, and yet she rises. That is her quiet courage. The world often misunderstands courage. We are taught to believe it looks like grand gestures, daring feats, or loud proclamations. But real courage, her kind of courage, is different. It is choosing to face a day that feels unbearable. It is choosing to keep promises to children who depend on her. It is choosing to show up at work with a composed face even when her heart is breaking. It is choosing not to surrender, not to let despair chain her to the ground. That choice, repeated day after day, becomes her unspoken revolution. What makes her courage remarkable is that it is not driven by applause. She receives no standing ovation for pushing herself through exhaustion. No medals are pinned to her chest for holding her world together when it threatens to collapse. No headlines honor her persistence. Her courage lives unseen, hidden in the folds of ordinary days. And yet it is extraordinary, for in a world where many give up, she continues to rise, quietly defying the odds. Sometimes her courage is as simple as a deep breath when she feels panic clawing at her chest. Sometimes it is answering the phone when she knows bad news waits on the other side. Sometimes it is going to work when the paycheck barely covers the bills. Sometimes it is walking into a room where she knows she will be ignored, underestimated, or disrespected, but walking in anyway. Each act may seem small to the world, but for her, it is monumental. Each act is another brick in the foundation of her resilience. Her courage also shows itself in the way she loves, even when she has been unloved, the way she forgives, even when forgiveness is not returned, the way she continues to nurture others, even when no one nurtures her. It takes courage to keep her heart soft in a world that has tried to harden it. It takes courage to hope when disappointment has visited her too many times. It takes courage to dream when reality has told her again and again that her dreams must wait. And still, she allows her heart to keep opening. Still, she allows herself to keep trying. There are days, however, when she does not feel brave at all. Days when she cries in the bathroom, wipes her tears quickly, and forces a smile before walking back out. Days when her reflection in the mirror looks like a stranger, weary and unrecognizable. Days when her body feels like it cannot take another step. On those days, courage is not loud. It is not beautiful. It is not graceful. On those days, courage is simply refusing to give up. And though she may not see it, though she may call it survival instead of bravery, it is still courage. This quiet courage is what keeps her moving forward even when she carries burdens too heavy for one person. It is what allows her to shield her children from the storms, even while she herself is drenched in rain. It is what pushes her to keep showing up at jobs, at schools, at kitchens, at life itself, when walking away would be easier. She may feel invisible, but her courage is not invisible. It is written into every choice she makes. Every day she keeps standing. What makes her courage powerful is not just that it keeps her alive, it is that it keeps her spirit intact. Even when she feels broken, even when she feels abandoned, even when she feels forgotten, she still holds on to the belief, however faint, that she will rise again. That belief is not loud, it is not celebrated, but it keeps her from collapsing under despair. And each time she rises, she builds a little more proof that she can survive the storms that come her way. The quiet courage to keep rising is not about perfection. It is not about never falling, never crying, never doubting. It is about standing up again after every fall. It is about wiping away tears and still moving forward. It is about acknowledging fear, but not letting fear dictate the end of her story. She may tremble, but she does not quit. She may break, but she does not stay broken. She may lose battles, but she does not lose herself. And though the world may overlook her, though no spotlight may shine on her name, she is a testament to the kind of strength that outlasts noise and applause. Her courage is quiet, but it is steady. It is unseen, but it is unshakable. It does not need recognition to be real. Every time she rises, she proves that survival itself can be a sacred act of courage. Every time she rises, she proves that even in silence, power speaks. Silence is one of the most misunderstood languages a woman with no support speaks. The world often looks at her quiet and decides it must mean she is distant, cold, or uninterested. They see her lips pressed together and believe she has nothing to say. They misinterpret her stillness as weakness, her pauses as emptiness, her reserve as lack of feeling. But her silence is not absence. Her silence is not surrender. Her silence is the shield she has learned to hold when words would only wound her further. She knows too well the cost of speaking. She has spoken before and been dismissed, spoken before and been betrayed, spoken before and been told her pain was too heavy for others to hold. And so, over time, she has learned that sometimes the safest place for her truth is inside herself. Not because she does not long to release it, but because the world has not always proven worthy of it. So she sits in her silence, and the world misunderstands, thinking she has nothing to offer, when in reality she holds oceans of wisdom beneath her quiet. Her silence is survival. It is the way she saves her strength for the battles that matter most. It is the way she protects her fragile heart from being crushed by careless words or shallow ears. When she chooses silence, it is not because she has no feelings. It is because her feelings run too deep to be wasted on those who will not honor them. It is not because she has no story. It is because her story has been mishandled before, and she will not let it be mishandled again. To the untrained eye, she may seem distant. They do not see how her silence is filled with thought, filled with prayer, filled with reflection. They do not know that in her silence she is carrying conversations with her own soul, sorting through her fears, shaping her resilience, gathering her strength. They assume she is disengaged when in fact she is deeply engaged, just not with them. She is engaged with her own healing, her own survival, her own journey toward wholeness. And yet, silence comes with its own weight. For silence is not always chosen freely. Sometimes it is forced upon her by a world that does not listen. Sometimes it is the echo of being silenced too many times before. Sometimes it is the heavy cloak she wears because shouting into the void is more exhausting than swallowing her pain. In those moments, silence feels less like empowerment and more like exile.